First thing we've got to do is we're going to rotate this bar, and we're going to take it and we're going to rotate it so the track is facing in towards me. So I'm going to have to take all this off. I'm going to remove the holders. I'm going to remove these. I'm not going to use those. So I'm going to remove all that. Just a little pulley system in there, and I'm going to rotate this so it runs parallel with the driver, and that's where our foot control is going to go in. So it's going to be just like that. When that track gets there, we're going to install it right there. So that's what we're going to do first, and then we'll go from there. So first thing is just take all this out. So we're going to take this out of the rail system, and then we'll get started. So. I'm going to have to take out the bottom of this so I can, so all this has got to come out, so it will not work. So here, screws here, and then just take it out. It's not that complicated. To drill the holes, I had a small drill, just a pilot hole, and then I used a 1764. Okay, 2 holes, 1 on each end, fully drilled all the way through, and 1 here. All the way through. Alright, not hard to do, just mark and drill. Okay, and there you go. Got it back in at the angle we want. I put a bolt there, but the first thing you want to do before you put things back is you want to get some screws in here. So we're going to go ahead and screw this down. Bar in, turned completely. Everything's back together. We did take out, again, we took out little things that lock in it, don't need them, and we took out there were some bungees over here we won't use. Okay, but everything else, bars turned where we need it, and now we install the foot pegs. Install the foot pegs. First thing we're gonna do is so here in this back channel, that is where we're going to clip our cable rudder into. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have this in this position. Okay. So what I like to do is, so we're going to have it all the way back. So first we got to put this piece right here. We got to install that into the H-rail, and I'll show you what hardware we're going to use to do that. All right, here's what we're going to do. We got two small flat screws, and then with some nuts that fit right in the H-rail. So I have these, got these in the hardware store. Just go down and figure something that works. But roughly, they're going to fit in there. They're going to slide down there. I've already got one of them in. So we'll get that installed. Now what I want these all the way back. So once I get them in there, I'll loosen them just a little bit so I can slide it, and I want it all the way back, almost to the end. And that's good. We're almost to the end, and then we tighten them back down. Once we have these tightened back down, now our foot pegs can go in there. This takes a little bit because the Outback's got the pulley system for to raise your transducer and also raise your got it around it. So anyway, and also, I'm sorry, raise your rudder. So had to get around that, but you can. Now they're in, sliding nice and easy. So perfect. So now we're in. All right, and then I'll show you how we're going to adjust it later. But that's kind of where we're at. We got that. So now we got to run the tubing, and that's our next. So once you get this in, now we got to run some tubing into the kayak, and I'll explain to that and why we're only going to run it so far. because we got to put a pulley. We got to put a pulley system both here and approximately right in here. So right below this arm and right here. Alright, so we'll have to take this bolt back out, move this so we can work with the pulley system, but there'll be a pulley system. Come through here, pulley into this one, and then go down the side of the kayak. Alright, now we're going to start on the tubing. What I have found coming out right about here is where I want to come out. So I'm going to drill a hole right there, run the tubing down, and then we're not going to run it all the way out the kayak. We're going to run it down through there, tape it to the side so the cable comes out, and then and then we got to run it through some pulleys. But as you can see, I want it in about the same spot that I have this one right here coming out. So right about there is where I want to run the tubing in. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to drill that hole and run that tubing. Right here is where we're going to want it. Just a little above that and right about there. Get that all the way drilled through. Nice and neat. We're going to start our tubing, and it should be a pretty snug fit. Right there. Right through the back of that. And we'll run it all the way down now. We're going to have to get on the inside and figure out how to get it steered right. And then what we're going to do, you got to go through the hatch. I have a back hatch installed. We'll go through that hatch, kind of feed it down through there, and then pull it out down at the big square hatch. Alright, one thing I forgot to mention is we're going to have to cut this float out right there. So float's connected about this this right here. It's just a zip tie, so we'll cut that zip tie, move the float so we can get and work in there. So we're going to do that now, and then it's not hard to get back in there. Okay, we got that cut. We'll move that float out of the way. So as you can see, it's right there. So we'll move that in there, and we got to move this float. We need to. I got my wires run for my electronics, but we'll get it moved around and scoot that float out of the way. And then we're gonna. I got an old fishing rod. We're gonna run that down the length of it, tie it to the tube, and pull the tube. Tube pulled, out here it goes. So as you can see, it's all pulled through. We'll have to feed it on the other side of that, but that's where we're at right now. Now, one of the things you want to make sure you do here is you want to pull this all the way through once you flare this back end. Looks pretty good. May flare it just a little more. That looks still steaming a little bit where we can really get it flared out there. Alright. Looks pretty good. So you can see that. It's kind of dark out here, but you can see I got it flared out a little bit. We'll pull it really tight. And I put a little silicone on it, and I do put a little super glue and pull it tight. So put your spectral cord into the tube and just feed it till it comes out the other end. It's about that simple. Lots of videos on how to do that, but we'll feed that all the way till it comes out the other end. Alright, so you can see I am through. I'm going to give you a little shot down there. So I'm through all the way. Now work on the install of the Kayak Stealth Pulley. We got a 2-pack here. We're going to work on an install. That install, again, one will be here and one will be here. So we'll walk through the first process. First process is we're going to have to trim these Stealth Pulleys down a little bit so they'll fit in those areas. So we'll walk through that. Okay, YouTube, the first part of putting in these pulleys, the 2 Stealth Pulleys from Kayak, is to trim them. And what we're going to do here is we're going to trim this part and this part off. We don't need it. Our spectre cord will be coming through right here and right here when they turn. So we will not need this or this, so we're going to go ahead and take those off. We're going to put in a pulley system. So if you can picture, the spectre cord is going to come through the underneath just like this. We're going to run it up through one pulley right here. So this will be the first one. It's going to come through just like that, and it's going to run right through this channel right here to this pulley, which will go in here just like this. So we're going to have it here to here, and then we'll come out right there and we'll tie into that. So if you can picture somewhat like that, that's how underneath will look coming to the foot pedal. So anyway, that will give you an idea of what's going on and what we're going to work on install. The first thing is to get these two pulleys in, and then we'll get the spectre cord and everything run through it. Then we'll drill our hole here, tie into the foot peg system right here, and away we go. One thing we did, we took this off of this one. We took this end off, so we're just going to have one bolt here. So this pulley system is going to go just about like that. That's what we're going to try to do right there, and we can come right. We want to come out about right here, so we want that cord, and maybe we want it somewhere right there, so that cord comes right out there. So that's where we're shooting for. Put it right in there. Now, one thing you have to do to get these installed here and here is you got to make sure you got the cord run through it prior to installing it. So you start with the back one, run the cord through it, get it installed, then you do the front one. So it's going to look somewhat like that when we're done underneath. So we'll start with this one. We're going to go ahead and run it down the spectre cord, get it up and get it installed. Put your two bolts through first. Long one goes to where the wheel is, and the short one's going to go to here. So that'll be just like that. Okay, we have everything in. All three screws, pulleys are in. Everything's working. So now we have to drill right here, about right here, and put a pilot hole so we can bring the spectre cord out. Put our tube over it, flare our tube, and install it right there. That's where to come out, and we'll tie in right here. YouTube, we have it running out. There it is. It's running right out through right here. We're going to tie that into the pedal, which is about right there. So you're going to see how we're going to do that. Couple things to feed the end of this through here. I just put a little piece of braid on it, fed it through this hole, pulled it back through the piece of braid line, which made life a little easier. So just a little tip for you: put a little braid through there, feed it, then tie into that, and then pull it back through. It's made it real simple. So now we the next project is to take a piece of tubing, and we're going to put it over the end of that and then flare it in this hole. YouTube, everything's installed. Cables running on both sides. Foot pedals pulling. Steering. Alright, there you go, YouTube. There is my foot control steering for my 2019 Outback for my Torqeedo motor system. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, or what do you think. Alright, thanks.